Why would a guy not be interested in dating somebody who does the kind of work that we do if they, okay, let's say you meet a girl and you genuinely like her personality, and then you find out that she does that, and then maybe she doesn't meet the stereotype that you've given that a girl to be in that kind of career, like, would you still just call it off because of what she does, or would you be interested into like,
I have a second card.
I don't know. Have a second thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna vary from guy to guy. Like, I know that there's definitely guys that wouldn't care that much. There's some guys that actually push their women into doing like online sex work and whatnot. I can only speak for me personally. Like, if I was talking to a girl and I found out she did that, it would be I wouldn't be able to stomach it, because like I was telling her, like I'm a very territorial man when it comes to I don't want to share my woman with anyone. I don't want guys knowing what her body looks like in terms of like what she looks like underneath her clothes, what she looks like naked, anything like that. Like, I want that to be reserved for me and me alone. And I want that to be a special thing that we share with one another. That's one aspect of the psychology. The other aspect of it is, I don't want my kid's mother I don't want her body all over the internet. I don't want my kids to have to potentially deal with that someday, because I read stories about kids who do get bullied at school for it and they end up killing themselves. And it's just, there's way too many liabilities there for me personally to deal with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I also have a question for you guys.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's just,
sorry.
It's just not right. She's going to be pulling me in the other direction. I'm trying to serve Christ, I'm trying to serve God, and she's running the complete opposite direction. He brought up the equally yoked phrase earlier. He's talking about that yoked. He's talking about a yoke. You know how oxens are yoked together with this bar that goes across their neck. Well, unequally yoked would be two separate animals barred together. It just doesn't make sense to plow grain with two separate animals. That's what it's like being a believer with an unbeliever. It's two separate species, essentially. Just does not make sense for me as a believer to be with an unbeliever.
Yeah. To bring it back to how I answered your question too, does my explanation about the territorialness and not wanting to share a woman make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you feel like that's fair and justified?
I think that's fair. I think
Unfair.
sounds like somebody's hit a car.
Yeah, people drive by and try to make noises because they know the show's going on.
No way.
Yeah, happens all the time. People will wait for the show to start and then they'll like rev their engine down below.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
hella funny.
But so that makes sense to you?
No, it totally makes sense, and that's why I kind of just wrote off that I would even find somebody that and be in anything serious until I was done doing it. And not because I think that that's necessarily right. I've just accepted that, I think.
You might find a guy who has tolerance for it. I don't know.
I have a lot of fans, I guess, that say that they would like to date me knowing what I do, but then once they're with me would want me to quit. And I think that that's kind of hypocritical. It's like, wait, you found me like this, and now you want it to, like, I think it's
you might feel it's hypocritical, but I would argue it's actually a good impulse. It's a protective impulse that a man has towards his woman, right?
Wait, what did I miss? What is hypocritical?
She was saying that guys will tell her fans will tell her from online that they want to date her, but once they have her, they would want her to stop her online sex work.
And then they have, I have a lot of like breeding, like they want to like put a baby in. Like I get a lot of that where they're like, oh, I want you to have my baby. I want you to have my baby. Like, so they want, they want to like take it off the market. Does that make sense?
Okay.
It's just weird to me that you found me in this website and now you're trying to take it out of the game.
Let me ask you this. What man would want his woman still on the market?
Well,
if she's
that's
his
fair.
woman.
A pimp.
What?
A pimp.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
fair.
true.
But I don't I don't see, because I'm not dating those people. Does that make sense? Like,
right.
I'm not dating the people that are coming into my chat rooms, and I'm not dating those people. Those are not the clientele, for lack of another term. Like, those are not my possible suitors.
Yeah.
Well,
I just think it's interesting that
perhaps one way to address the whole hypocrisy thing is, prior to dating, he had no problem with you engaging in what he considered single behavior. Mm-hmm. But once they started dating, he wanted her or you to act in a way that
Okay.
he thought was consistent with being in a relationship. So, for example, I mean, a guy might, if you're single, we might not necessarily object to you going to bars, clubs, partying, posting provocative photos. But if we're in a relationship with you, if a guy might want to rein in some of those behaviors that are kind of, you're
Single,
still advertising.
Understood. Yeah, no,
Single
that makes
behavior.
sense. That makes sense. No,
Like,
totally.
I
see
get
your
it.
point.
Women go to bars and nightclubs, but if you want commitment from me, you can't go to the bar and club.
Also, building off what he said, again, that carnal like need and desire for sex that guys have programmed into them, like, of course, off the bat, that's going to make them really attracted to women in that line of work. They're like, great, sex. Like, I can
Right.
get sex all the time. But I think what he's saying, like, it's a good thing when he starts to feel that way because he's starting to see you as something more than
More.
just that. When he cares about you, that's when he's going to want to start putting those restrictions into place. So
That makes sense.
it's honestly a good thing.
I would also, it's funny too how this conversation has gone. I would also add that protectiveness. If you were to comply with that and be like, yeah, I'll take like, that's what a guy who's going to want to commit to you is going to want from you.
Okay, and I think if he's a good guy and he's asking for that, and your career is that, so you live off of it, that if he's a good guy and that's what you guys want to do in the next part of your relationship, he will help guide you and figure out how you can do that transition so you don't have to lose everything and suffer.
100%. That's good leadership right there.
Here's one of the things though that I think a lot of women who are involved in sex work or stripping or doing OnlyFans or just traditional adult content is they make a lot of money. So I think what
There's
they're
that one
thinking
chick
is,
that made like $70,000 a month. that we
we've
did
had
that
a lot
one
of
show.
girls on the show that
Oh, there's more.
make six figures a month, and
Yeah.
so I think the attitude, at least from what I've interviewed from tons of these girls that have come on the show, is, well, I would stop if they were to continue, if they were really rich guys who could
Provide
On
me
your
the same
lifestyle,
quality of
maintain the
life.
lifestyle,
that-
essentially.
exactly,
Yeah.
maintain the lifestyle. But that's such a small portion of men that can make
So
that
steep.
amount of money, and so it's like,
That's intimidating to guys in and of itself, making that kind of money.
I
I
don't know.
don't find it intimidating if a
Not
woman
to
makes
all
that much
guys,
money.
but to some guys, it's intimidating for the female
Or just
to
a turn off.
right.
Yeah, I don't find it attractive if a woman makes a
woman's-
ton of money.
Yeah.
But like, think about what it could do for your dynasty, Chase. Like, and assuming it's not from
Yeah,
sex.
think about it. Think about what it could do to your relationship dynamic. If your woman's making 20 times more money than you are, like, bro, she's
That's my money
wearing the
now.
pants.
That's my money now.
Like that screws up the power dynamic a lot. Like, I'm not interested in that.
To that
personally.
point, the other day when people asked me what I was looking for in a man, and I said like I want someone to earn more money than me, and I named that figure, like a lot of people were like, oh, like hypergamous, she's only after the money, but it's literally based off what you said. I know that if I'm not with a man who's gonna make more money than me, it's gonna completely switch the dynamics in the relationship.
Oh yeah.
What if she's just super submissive, Chase? But she's
But she's a baller, but super
I don't know,
submissive.
she's got some investments or some shit. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, like, there's definitely a way to make it work.
She got
Like,
some fucking
She got a
Dogecoin.
lot of
like if
Bitcoin,
she comes to you,
500.
if she comes to you and she's like, hey, I'm like really rich, but I want to put you in charge of the money. It's like, okay, well, that's a different story.
All right.
It's a lot
you
of
know?
trust.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not a prenup.